Hey, this is Izzy Dakota Jones, and I'm with the Art of Doing podcast, and I'm going to be talking to Tim Heller, who has a band called Rock Voodoo, singer, songwriter, guitar player, also in the movie industry. We'll have a little chat with Tim and see what he has to say and get into his musical mind and his experience in the film industry. So stick around. This is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast. So, how did you come up with the concept of Rock Voodoo? When did you start forming it? When did you start forming it? When did you do the song? When did you start writing?
Briefly, we were called Mojo Filter, which was the name of my film and music company.
Right.
And then when I went to put that on the internet, there was all these Mojo Filter bands around the world.
Right.
So we put out this one record briefly under Mojo Filter. And but I switched it to Rock Voodoo when I, punching names into Google.
Right.
And then seeing, I thought I'd try rock, and I kept trying different words with rock.
Yeah.
I came with Rock Voodoo, and then nothing came up on Google, so I grabbed it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Idea. So,
then 2008, we did a few gigs at the Anza Club here in Vancouver, and a number of charities for autism, for cancer. We did a bunch there down in Spanish Banks and a couple years in a row there. And that's kind of how Rock Voodoo started, was in the coffee houses and doing charities, just helping out.
Right.
At Fairview. And then we got to play the Olympics in Yaletown on the streets there, and we played 2 nights there.
Oh, right on. And
it was fun to be a little bit a part of the Olympics there, and that's 10 years ago, which is just crazy. Next week it's 10 exactly. Next week will be, I think, the 25th of February was the day that we played the Olympics, and it was a great experience and got us some exposure, and it was just fun to be a little bit a part of it,
Yeah. So in like you said, when you first formed and you were called. Was it Mojo Filter, right?
Yeah.
Was the music, when you were writing the songs, were they similar in style, or did that progress when you changed to Rock Voodoo?
Well, the thing about Rock Voodoo, we almost cover all styles of rock and roll. We have over 110 songs now.
Wow.
Not that we performed them all or got them all rehearsed, of course, but it's one foot in classic rock for sure. A little, modern twist of rock in there, but we're a power trio right now. We may add a keyboard in the future and get some more vocal harmonies happening.
Yeah.
There's just all these little influence of the history of rock and roll that we put into the Rock Voodoo soup, you could say, and stir it up, and that's Rock Voodoo. A little bit of Beatles, a little Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Cream is a big influence, on us, and but even Talking Heads and the Clash and those later bands. So it's a touch of new wave, although we don't have the keyboards in there right now. We're just a power trio, but something might change in the future.
Yeah, cool. Now, when you're writing songs, like you said, your influences there. So when you're writing a song, what comes first? The lyrics, the music? What usually comes to you first, Tim?
Well, that's the funny thing about songwriting. You never know where it's going to come from. With me, some people call Rock Voodoo riff rock.
Right.
Like we're riffs. So a lot of times I'll come up with a riff, like Going to the Mountain.
Yeah.
Which is on YouTube, and our first album, Never Leave It Too Late, is on Spotify and Apple and CD Baby and all that. But sometimes you come up a riff and you have a line like Going to the Mountain, one line, and you got to take it from there and fill it in. So sometimes you just write all the lyrics at once, and then sometimes you got to fill it in. Sometimes you start with a melody and you got one verse and you got to come up with another one. It's usually the first inspiration's the easy part, and sometimes you got to fill in the second, third verse, right?
Yeah.
But so it happens so many different ways, and I even remember Lennon and McCartney talking about that. It can happen so many ways, Joe. There, it's
So
funny thing, songwriting. It's funny thing.
It is.
I think that's one of the things that always keeps me going. Is it's a bit of a game. You never, you just trying to find that next riff, right? It's,
right.
A game that never ends, and I guess that's why I never get bored of playing the guitar, because it's just endless. You can just keep learning.
Yeah, you just keep going along, right?
Yeah.
How about like, for instance, so when you're when you play, do you like how do you feel about playing live? Do you like playing live more? Do you like playing recording more? What is more inspirational to you, or do you like it all? You find it all?
I would say I take it all. I mean, I love playing live now, and like doing our Jimi Hendrix tribute, Going to the Mountain, or all the other songs. And to me, it's a little bit of keeping the love revolution alive of the 60s too, right?
Yeah.
It's in my back of my mind, just keep those positive vibes of pure rock and roll, is what I'm trying to go for.
Right.
I love recording too. I mean, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. It's so technical and all that side of it, and it's a slow process. You always wish it could be faster, but I enjoy arranging, rehearsing, recording. I love it all.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me a little bit also now about your film company and what goes on with that. Like,
that was I had a band in the back 20 years ago now that was called The Underground, and we turned down Bruce Allen Management, of course, who does Michael Bublé, Bryan Adams, and I went in the film industry, and it took off, and I was doing acting on General Hospitals, soap operas, and that's how I started. Originally, it was acting on Jump Street and some of these shows, and but then I was so interested in filmmaking, I wanted to get behind camera, so I got into camera and lighting.
Oh, very cool.
And that's what I've done the last 20 years. So now this year we're stepping up Rock Voodoo and going more full-time. So
Yeah, interesting. So that's interesting how you got into film and stuff too, and into acting. So you got in front of the camera and you also got behind the camera, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing experience, really. I mean, I did a movie with Jack Nicholson, and they stuck me in one scene. I got to act with him. I did a movie of, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, 4 movies of Robin Williams, which was a sweetheart guy. I just loved him, literally, singing with him, going off to lunch, oh, wee, oh, whoa, oh. He was hilarious, man. We just had so much fun. Filming that movie, Jumanji, was a highlight of my life. And, of course, the real big one was doing a movie with David Bowie.
Oh, wow. How was that?
We talked the history of rock and roll every day.
Right on.
How did you meet John Lennon, David Bowie? And off he would go. He just loved to talk and tell stories and laugh. That guy just loved to laugh. He was just the sweetest human being you can ever imagine.
Wow.
And he'd tell me, I met John Lennon at Elizabeth Taylor party in Hollywood. I came around the corner, and there's John Lennon. And it was a room full of old Hollywood stars, and they were the young rock and rollers, right? And it's like, Dave Bowie comes around the corner and goes, oh, shit, I better act cool, he said. That's what he told me. And they just kind of hit it off, and I can see why, because they both have the same sense of humor, right?
Yeah. Interesting. And also, just on a personal note with you, like you've gone to see a lot of shows too. Like you've gone, you've seen Paul McCartney in Vegas, right? You went. Is it Vegas that you saw Paul McCartney in?
Montana, Vegas, Edmonton, Seattle, and Vancouver, of course, and Los Angeles.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've probably seen him more than anybody else. I just try to catch him whenever I can. I mean, it's just Paul McCartney, man. He's just done it all, right?
Yeah.
Invented heavy, writing Helter Skelter to Blackbird to Yesterday. It's just mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling.
He does a 3-hour show and 40 songs. I mean,
I know that. I saw the last one, and the last one was like, 3. I couldn't believe it. It was almost 3.5 hours, and it was like, the crowd's getting tired, and he still wants to keep going.
And he doesn't drink any water. It's just crazy. Like you never see him drink any water on stage.
Well, he did on that last one. Yeah. Funny you say that. I was with a friend of mine who's in the film industry too, Spike, and he's a Teamster guy. And anyway, Spike said that he mentioned it. He says he never drinks water. And then at that one, Spike said to me, "Look, he's drinking water. They're making him finally drink water."
Yeah, every once in a while you'll see him take one little sip, but it's really rare. I mean, funny thing is I've been kind of watching for it. So I might have been that time actually that I.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't that show, eh? Unreal. So are you guys getting back to the band? Are you guys getting back into recording or writing any more songs, or is that always constant with you, Tim?
Well, I just wrote this one by accident called War Child that I would love to do as a charity single. The children that are being hurt and killed in Syria, and I just wrote it from that picture of the kid that was in the news with the dusty hair and the bloody face, and that in the back of the ambulance. And so that's a new one. I mean, we've got a lot of songs to record, and we hope to do a new album soon. And right now, I'm mixing a live album.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so we want to put that out on red vinyl.
Oh yes.
Yeah, rock voodoo. We write it in red, right? So hoping to put it out in red vinyl, and so we're chipping away at that.
Right on. And also you were telling me a while back too. I know we're going over the map, but you do so many different things. You did want something about World War II or something with your dad, about your family, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a World War I historian. I had two grandfathers. One's great grandfather, and then his son was in World War II.
Right.
And he was in the Navy on the coast, and he helped patrol the coast of North America here.
Right on.
But I had the two grandfathers in World War II. But I was in a bunch of documentaries to do with descendants of World War I soldiers. So I went through a boot camp.
Right.
Cut all my rock and roll hair off and literally went through World War I boot camp.
Wow.
And so it was a 4-hour docudrama for the CBC.
Right.
And so we got trained as World War I soldiers, and then we retold all the stories of what Canada did.
Right.
We were the Germans called us stormtroopers. The funny thing is the Canadians became the elite fighting force in World War I. And Vimy Ridge, of course, was one of the first big wins of the war, and there was 150,000 casualties on the French and British trying to take this ridge, and then the Canadians came in there and took it mostly in one day.
Yeah.
So I had two grandfathers on there. So it's just something that after I did that boot camp thing, they picked 150 of us out of 7,500 people. And so it was quite an honor to step into my grandfather's footsteps. And so ever since then, what I learned in that and what the history I know, I just try to keep the history alive of Canadians in World War I. So I've helped out with my film work and kind of married them together, and just try to keep the history alive through newspaper articles, documentaries, docudramas.
Right.
We've done one on the Chinese labor corps. I built trenches in the Fraser Valley here 4 times now.
Wow.
In different projects, but just keep the history alive.
That's so cool. That's very interesting, eh? That is very interesting. So now, like you said, you're getting prepared back with your band. You guys are getting prepared to get a new album together. How does that process work for you guys? Are you just starting? You're putting the tunes together. Do you do the album in a theme, or is it, you know what I mean? Like some albums are done.
Well, we're kicking around the idea of calling this one "Keep the Love Revolution Alive."
Okay.
So that might be the title of the next album.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And then so the live album that's coming out. Where did you record that at? Where was that live?
That was at another charity thing that we did. Annette MacArthur, she called us up, and she's a bit of a rock voodoo fan. We've done that big charity like 4 times, I think now, called Rock for Kids. And this goes way back. They haven't done it the last 2 years because she's involved in the Monsters of Rock or something.
Right.
The festival's going to happen here, and she's hooked up with Gene Simmons or something now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was recorded by a friend of, and it came out pretty good. So so we've just been kind of mixing it and mastering it and make it sound a little better and
very
mixing
cool.
that up. So yeah.
That's cool. So you get right into the whole process, I guess, eh? And making sure you hear everything from the mixing, the mastering, and all that too, right?
Yeah. Well, the first album, Never Leave It Too Late, which you can get on CD Baby and Spotify and all that. That's I mixed and produced that one myself.
Right on.
Now in the future, I got friends like Mike Fraser who recorded AC/DC.
That's right.
Hoping to maybe pull him in. We'll see if he's not busy recording AC/DC or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll see what happens here. I'm gonna call up a few friends and see if we can, get this other album made.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And you're looking at forward to getting that done, what, within the year, you thinking?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Like we are thinking about doing a West Coast tour and kicking that idea around too, and going down to Whiskey A Go-Go with the lovely band, The Twitch. You might have heard of them.
Yeah. I have.
Yeah, they're a great band. Got some really good tunes.
Yeah.
And they're like Rock Voodoo. They're pure rock and roll.
Yes, yeah. We like the rock and roll feel. That's for sure. That's cool. And I've noticed like the show the other night that you played at with us, it was great. You guys were like, you really had that really tight energy, and I liked your drummer doing the harmonies with you. That was really,
yeah, that was a nice bonus for sure.
You know what?
He's our number 2 drummer. We got Kelly Stadora.
Yeah, this other Kelly's great, but this other guy too is. I like this guy. He's a nice guy.
He's a super guy. He's a film producer that I've worked with before on some of these World of One projects. That's how we met.
Oh, okay.
To tell you the truth, we're just down the road from where I live here in the valley. We built trenches for the Tricks on the Dead, which was filmed in China and England and Canada and Belgium and France, and 2-hour docudrama there. So he's a great guy, and
he is a very nice guy.
Those backup vocals added to him, which is something I'd really love to have more in rock voodoo. And another keyboard player in there, he would definitely have to sing Beatle-like harmonies or something.
Yeah. Because those harmonies were really good, and he's playing too, and he's he's not like just he's not like Charlie Watts or Ringo just holding the groove down, which is very important. But he's
progressive. Yeah,
he's progressive too. He's giving it all he can.
Yeah, and that's the thing about rock voodoo music. It's very I'm a frustrated drummer myself, and I'm not a very good drummer. But when I write songs, I got that in mind. And those bands like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix with Mitch Mitchell, who I spent a day with one time. Progressive drummers and Cream, progressive drummers that take it's another level. The Who, right?
Yeah.
So, rock voodoo music is like that.
Yeah, I met Mitch Mitchell once at I was playing out at the famous Boo Pub, right, in Coquitlam there. And they were playing in the Boo Pub, and I was playing in the Backstreet Lounge, actually. And I went on my break. I went over and watched him play. He was playing with Randy Hansen.
Oh right, yes.
Yeah.
That's when I met him.
Yeah, and then
in Victoria.
Yeah, and then I talked to him. Like, I asked him. He went for a break and he came over and saw us, and we were talking afterwards. And I said, "So tell me what it's like when like Randy plays like a Hendrix song that does it take you somewhere when you're playing?" And he says, "Oh yeah." He says, "Sometimes I go right back to who knows, because we might say we're doing Purple Haze. I go right back to the marquee, like in the early days." He says, "It takes me right there." He says, "Oh yeah." He says, it really does." He says, "I'm not shitting you." He says, "It really does." And so I found that really, really interesting. So, he was a very nice guy. Very good. He was a great drummer. It was incredible.
Yeah, he's and a very unique drummer.
Yeah.
So that jazz rock style that he had just worked perfectly with Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Did he audition for Paul McCartney's band Wings?
He did. I didn't know.
Yeah, he didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe he's not the right drummer for Wings, right?
Well, and Paul might be picky as heck too, right? I know. Talk about I forget the drummer's name now. What's that guy's name? With him now?
From what?
For Paul McCartney, who's the guy with him now?
Abe.
Abe. So
yeah,
I met Abe,
incredible.
and I don't know if I told you this story quickly. I met Abe. I played. We played a bar in Oakland called the Stork Club. It's still there, but it's not. I don't think it's got live entertainment anymore. But the guy who owns it, Dale, is his name. Very nice guy, and everybody's played there too. I mean, a lot of good bands play there. Green Day. There's been tons of bands, and so we got to know Dale really well, and he really liked us. So we would, whenever we were down there, we make sure we played the Stork Club. So we played there, and Abe was in a band called. What was it? I think it was not the Fireflies, but something like that. Anyways, and the girl playing bass. No, it was Fire Ants, and the girl playing bass sounded and wrote songs similar to Patti Smith, right?
Right.
And she also did poetry, and her poetry was really good too. And so we played with them, and then after the show, both bands we got together, and I got to talk to Abe, and got to, knew, he told me who his dad was and all that, the jazz guy and that, and we talked, and we said they lived in Anaheim, so we said, oh, well, we should hook up when we go down to Anaheim, or we're playing the Doll Hut in Anaheim. So he says, we'll come down and see you guys. And he came down and saw us at the Doll Hut. Well,
cool.
a few days later, we find out he left the Fire Ants, and he's joining Paul McCartney, right?
Holy shit.
I mean, it was just like the same week, and all of a sudden he gets a phone call and an offer, and he's gone, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's been with McCartney ever since.
Yeah.
He's a monster behind the skins, man. He's
really incredible. Great singer too. Another great singer too, right?
Yeah, he helps out McCartney a lot on the vocals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another great thing about that band is they all sing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That's an important thing. Especially like Paul is like really, he's getting on, and yet they're singing those super high, those parts that he did when he was 20 years old, right?
Yeah, and all in the same keys.
Yeah, he hasn't changed anything.
Yeah.
I know. He's a bit of it. I think that's a bit too much sometimes. I'm going like, holy shit. How can you keep singing the stuff you did like 40, 50 years ago, buddy? How can you do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care.
One band I would say is a bit, down the rock voodoo lane is Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Mm-hmm. I always relate to that lead guitar player there.
Oh yeah,
he's great. I think we grew up on the same influences.
Yeah, McCready. Yeah, and I met him in Seattle in a bar. I forget the name of the bar we played in, and it was an industrial area. It was in Georgetown, just outside of Seattle, the old section of Seattle actually. And this bar was it was in an industrial area, and it's an old house, and the guy converted the house into a bar. So the front room was
a legal bar.
Yeah, no, it was legal. And so the front bar, because it was commercial use, right? And so the front the front room, it was called Tiger Lounge. That's it. And how I got the gig was I talked to the booker, and the booker actually lived on the Sunshine Coast. And would come in to go to Seattle, and was a family friend or family relations to the owner. And so because he was Canadian, he knew we were Canadian. He said, "Come on down, right, and play." So the front room was where the stage was in the PA, and the bar was if I remember correctly, was in the kitchen. And set up. It was set up like a bar, and downstairs there was a huge basement, and there was something like about 70 to 80 pinball machines.
Holy cow!
Oh yeah, it was unreal. So you could go downstairs and play pinball and drink and party, or you come up and watch the bands play. And in the backyard, he converted the backyard into a patio, right? And then I think there was one other hallway section where they turned that into a bit of a kitchen. And so they had food and they had booze going, and in the summertime they'd have a barbecue, out in the backyard. And it was great. And I met McCready there. He used to come there and jam. So he came in and watched us play, and then he talked to us after the show, and he was a very nice man too. Yeah, he was a really nice guy. And some of the guys in the band would all come. We didn't meet any of the other guys, but they would show up at this bar, right?
Did you go to the Who?
Not this last time. The time before I did.
Right. Well, the Vancouver a couple months ago, the Who were here, and the lead singer of Pearl Jam, he jumped up and did a song with it.
Oh, Eddie Vedder was there, right?
Yeah, Eddie, and the funny thing is I was about the only one who noticed him sitting at the mixing console.
Oh yeah.
He was just sitting in a chair, like just right in the open, and nobody recognized him.
Wow.
He was just staring at the front, just staring at the Who the whole time, and just like trying to block everybody out or something, not get noticed or something.
Yeah. He just came up and watched the show and then got up on stage. That's great.
Yeah, he just did the one song, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, because I seen them. I seen them a lot. I saw them when I was a little kid. I saw them open up for Hermits, right? So
Wow.
yeah, that was really cool.
You
And
must have been a fetus back then.
I was.
Right.
I was a rocking fetus.
Right on, Joe.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna let you go, and that was a great interview. And you know what? You guys it's really interesting, a great little band, and it's good that you keep trying to keep the rock music alive in the city, especially, right?
Yeah. The funny thing is we forgot to play that Jimmy tribute the other day. We missed it.
I know.
Drummer was reading out the song list there, and somehow skipped going to the mountains.
Jesus.
That was one we missed that night, but.
Hey.
If anybody wants to check it out, rockvoodoo.com. There's a bunch of videos. You just hit the videos, the links to YouTube.
Good stuff.
And, there's about 10 videos up there.
Good. That's good.
Sunset Boulevard's up there, which we always play. It's a bit of a comedy, shot in Hollywood and partly shot on 35mm film.
Good.
And I was the director of photography on that one, too.
Good.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
And, so the songs on If Not For You, I Wouldn't Know Where It Be. We got that on video, Sparks in the Ashes, and The Universe is a big ballad that we did as kind of Pink Floyd meets Day in Life. Some pure rock and roll in there. Remember That Girl's a fun video with a bunch of girls that I worked with, like Goldie Hawn, and they're all dancing in the video. And
very cool.
Angelo Jolie, and it's about 7 girls that I worked with, actresses that I worked in that one. Stuck them all in the video.
Pretty cool.
And, of course, Going to the Mountain, there's a couple of videos of that one.
Cool. We'll make sure everybody checks that out. And we'll be talking to you soon, Tim.
Yeah, and End of the Dictators is that one, too. Yeah, of course.
Okay, you got it. End of the Dictators. All right.
That was a good version we did the other night. Yeah, you did a good job there, the drummer.
Yeah, he's great. He's fun. I like watching him. All righty. We'll be talking to you soon, Tim. I'll give you a holler soon.
Hey, Joe, thanks a lot there. And Twitch Rock, and thanks for having us at that show. It was awesome.
We'll have more fun.
Rock on. Keep the love revolution alive, buddy.
Take care.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.
Well, that was Tim Heller from Rock Voodoo. And you can check him out on his site and his band whenever they're playing. Very interesting band, very interesting career this man's had. So check out Tim Heller. This is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Utter Doing Podcast. Take care. Bye now.